YouTube, and welcome to the Miniature Construction Company. Now, the subject of today's video is going to be the fitment of a couple of electronic bits and pieces, namely an ESC and this little receiver here from a transmitter kit. Now, if you've watched the previous videos, you'll know that on the B1 WPL I melted the original circuit board when I fitted a 2S battery. It must have been a little bit too much for it and it gave up the ghost. So I'm having to upgrade the electronics and I'm using these bits and pieces to do it. Now, well, let's get started. First thing I'm going to have to do is just remove this battery tray here. I think I've got a rough idea already where I'm going to put the bits and pieces. I mean, luckily they're not very big, so it should be fairly straightforward to secrete them somewhere on the truck and it not be terribly noticeable. So like I say, without further ado, I'll get cracking, and as I'm doing it I'll show you what I'm doing and have done. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is try and fit the ESC somewhere. Now, it's only small and I reckon it'll fit quite neatly in this dummy fuel tank. Now, I've used these before to fit electronics in, and they're quite useful, and as you can see, though it's a snug fit, it does fit in. And if I trim a little hole in the back on the back of the cover, the wires will go through, and by the time the lid's on, you won't see it. So I'm going to just quickly trim a hole in and see what that's like. Well, okay, after a bit of trimming and using me soldering iron to cut a little hole out the back, I've managed to put the ESC in the fuel tank, so it'll live on the side like that, and I'll shove the wires up behind the frame, and that should make a quite a neat job of it. Now, while I was cutting a hole with a soldering iron in the back of the tank, I thought that it would be a nice idea if I could put the transmitter behind the battery, which would mean just trimming a small piece out here, because on the bottom of the moulding for the inside of the truck there is a sort of transmitter shaped recess. So I reckon by the time that was put in there, it would fit nicely in that recess, and the cab would go on no problem. So I'm going to try that, see what that's like. Right, I've trimmed the back of the battery holder, the old battery holder, and just stuck the receiver onto the back of the little battery pack that I installed the other day. It's actually a really snug little fit there, and I can still get access to all the pins to plug the various bits and pieces into. And when I put the cab back on, as mentioned before, this recess here, it completely clears all the wires going out the back, so that's pretty much perfect. So just to recap, the receiver lives in this left-hand fuel tank, dummy fuel tank, and all the wiring exits underneath. I should probably put a bit some waterproofing on that to stop any ingress of dirt and water, etc. And the transmitter lives on the back of the battery tray, and I've checked, I've put the cab on, all the wires clear, so it's not a bad little location for that. And once again, all the wiring and the transmitter fit in this handy shaped hole that they've left in the moulding for the cab, so that worked out okay. The only thing left to do is to find somewhere neat to put the on-off switch. I'm tempted to use the original position for it and extend the wires, or use the opposite fuel tank, but I'm not sure at the moment. Bear with me. Right, I can't believe I didn't think of it sooner, but all I did to solve the on and off switch dilemma was to extend the wires slightly and just utilise the original position on the truck. So all that's left to do now is to fit the cab and the bumper and see what it's like. Now I thought we'd do a bit of a climb test. I bought the WPL Gas 66 out. They're both on stock tyres. They're both running 180 motors. The WPL is running the receiver card and I suppose speed control that comes with the sound kit, so it's a stock WPL item. So I thought it might be interesting to see what the climbing ability is. Now I know that the Gas is a little bit slower, is heavier than the B1, so whether or not that will probably aid traction initially, but as the angle gets steeper it'll probably be a disadvantage. So let's see if the Gas can climb up the slope. Oh yes, easy. Easy. Let's push the one out of the way. Now let's send the B1 up. Just turn him on. Oh yes, flies up. Let me alter the angle so it's a bit steeper. I've made the angle a few degrees steeper. Let's try the Gas. Oh yes, no problem. Okay, now the B1. Oh, again, no problems at all. Okay, I've increased the angle. It is quite steep now. Just thought I'd make a quick mention. I did fully charge both sets of batteries, and they are both running the same 18650, which is roughly equivalent to a 2S. So they're both running the same batteries. Okay, start again with the Gas. Oh. Just got hung up on that hitch at the back. No. Oh dear, didn't like that at all. Seem to be having a front axle issue at the moment with it. Okay, well I've had to sort of stop it there. There's something wrong with the Gas's axle, so I'm going to say that's effectively out of the running. So it wouldn't refuse to climb that particular angle. Now I'm going to try the B1 to see how that gets on. Well, it did it, but it looks as though that's got a rear axle problem. Now then, the video unfortunately ends there. There was a load of other clips I was going to show you with the truck going up the ramp. Unfortunately, this footage seems to have become corrupt and I can't use it. Now, I was about to reshoot it all, and then I had a problem with the truck itself. There must be a little well, the little pinion gear on the end of the motor keeps coming loose and spinning up. I've tried gluing it, I've tried a few other things. It lasts a few seconds and then starts doing it again, so it really needs replacing. But however, it might be a good time to fit this. I bought a little while ago a 260 motor off eBay, and I was going to make a video about fitting it, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's the next video, is going to be me fitting this motor to this truck, because I don't think the little gear on the end, it's not going to stay in place, so to be able to use the truck I may as well bang this one in as try and repair that. So stay tuned for the next video, where I'll be upgrading to a 260 motor. As ever, if you've found this video of some use, please click the like button, and if you're feeling that way inclined, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching.